The Wednesday week. We've seen off more competitors than Kevin Pressman in the 90s.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whenever you're listening to us. It's the Wednesday week, the Sheffield Wednesday podcast. My name's Eddie, I'm your host for tonight, and I might be one of the only conflicted Sheffield Wednesday fans right about now, because up here in North Yorkshire, there's an awful lot of Leeds fans, so I don't know whether I'm happy or sad that the Blades put them to the sword at the weekend. I don't know whether the rest of the gang share this conflicted emotional scene that I've got at the moment. So let's ask them. From Sheffield itself, Rich, how are you doing, sir?
Oh, well, man, yeah, I'm very conflicted by it because normally they're the only team, Leeds, that kind of like to see everybody beat them. Even when it's United versus Leeds, I want United to win, but I was conflicted to hell on Saturday about it. Really fucked me up.
It was, it was the way it happened as well. I think it was they didn't lay a glove on United, and United kind of escaped with another one. And it's like those games are running out, aren't they? So we shall see. We don't care. We don't care about them, do we, Victoria? We don't care about what they do with the other side of the city.
I mean, hashtag obsessed, guys. Come on, it's a Sheffield Wednesday podcast. I don't give a fuck.
Absolutely, we don't care. They'll be down next season anyway. And you know what? If we go up, it ruins their entire season anyway. So you know what? On that note, the praise or grumble on Saturday, the first text that was read out by Andy Giddings was from a Sheffield United fan on the day that they probably had their biggest win of the last 10 years. The first text from a Sheffield United fan was, only 24,000 at Hillsborough today. You'd think they'd have a better attendance than that, given they were giving away free kids' tickets. So, obsessed is definitely the word. Daniel Fudge, I'm assuming there's not as much buzz about the Leeds Sheffield United game where you are tonight.
Not really. No, they're all talking about whether Saints are going to go down or whether Pompey are going to go up. If that happens, you know what I mean? That'll be a couple of decent away days for me, to be fair. But the whole Sheffield United Leeds thing, it's like there's a teenage boy with Linda Lusardi and Jet Off Gladiators laid on the bed, and I don't know which one to, make a cup of tea for first.
That's a uniquely 90s reference. I'm assuming, Fudge, that you've been watching Harry's Heroes on ITV with the throwback 80s and 90s football stars, and so therefore that era is fully frontal in your memory.
Yeah, I mean, full frontal was what I was thinking about when I was talking about that.
It'd be Jet all day long for me.
100%.
Yeah, but I think
she was my sexual awakening. I'm not going to lie.
Right, I get that.
I met her once.
Jet is Jet. But don't disrespect Linda Lusardi. It's like the entire Shakira Jennifer Lopez. You know what I mean? Just stop and think about it for a minute. Do you know what I mean? It'll blow your mind. In fact, it'll mess with your mind. But anyway, let's make this sexist. I mean, who's more attractive, Zac Efron or that bloke who does the thrusting thing while making the ice cream that we've seen on Twitter this week? Do you know what I mean?
Oh, Zac Efron. If you've ever seen, there's a film called The Lucky One, right? And Zac Efron does the sex scene in a shower, and I swear to God, I bought it on Blu-ray and DVD. I don't even have a Blu-ray player anymore.
It's a MV one for me.
It's broken, yeah. The pause button's broke on yours.
Rewind.
There's a song in there somewhere.
Shall we save it for the Shag, Marry, Avoid podcast that we're all planning? Because it isn't only James Marriott who can juggle several podcasts at once. I'm sure we can all manage to do that. We'll discuss after the show. Back to the matter at hand. So, as I said in the introduction, we are the Sheffield Wednesday podcast, and where better to celebrate the experience of being a Sheffield Wednesday fan than at the Riverside Cafe on Catch Bar Lane, which is the closest bar to the ground for home games, with excellent food and a wonderful outside bar. So, Wednesday are now unbeaten in 11 games. The Steve Bruce revolution is in full force. The Cop now, when you get a new manager and things start to go well, people start singing the Barmy Army chant, and then you get a few people that start singing the new manager's name, don't they? Yeah, and
I love how you don't have to pronounce any consonants.
Yeah.
It's just.
But you know what? The first few weeks, they kind of swallow it as they say it because it's not quite right yet. You know, it's not Big Ron, is it? It's not Tricky Trev. It's not. He hasn't deserved it yet. But against Blackburn, another victory, and the Cop was singing that full-throated for the first time. That's unbelievable, isn't it? 11 games. What a turnaround for the Bruce Revolution and and his backroom staff, but obviously the players and the way the team lined up. It was probably our strongest side given the injuries that we've got. Did any of you feel like there was any chance that we weren't going to win that game? Didn't it feel like a really confident Saturday afternoon at Hillsborough?
Loved it.
Absolutely.
Loved every second of it. It was brilliant, wasn't it? Like, from the build-up and everything, it was just... I think we all went into that really sort of cocky... But not in an arrogant way. Do you know what I mean? Just like, we were cocky because...
I thought there was a Barmy Army going to be coming after that.
No, I just like to do that. Yeah. Every so often, like Max, who we go to the pub with, Max, who we go to the pub with, every few days just texts me, it's like, yes, it puts me in a really good mood.
So we did really start off brightly. There was some really good passing football. The tempo was high. Everything seemed to be going well. The only thing you could say was the weather wasn't ideal for it. But then, after 9 minutes, there was trepidation, wasn't there, Dicky? Because Sam Hutch, who has been absolutely the engine room, hasn't he, of certainly the last half dozen games. He did a Sam Hutch, didn't he? And immediately got himself injured. We brought on Pelipesi, but after 9 minutes, what was your feeling when you saw Sammy limping off? Did that dampen your enthusiasm? Did it dampen your confidence in terms of whether Wednesday we're going to be able to pull away from Blackburn?
I don't think it did. I was super confident. I think last week's podcast, I was I'm still super confident about, apart from the Norwich and Leeds games. But yeah, I knew we'd win, and to get 4 was great. But yeah, as soon as I must admit, when I saw Pelipesi coming on, I'm like, oh, because he's one of those players that he's been tarnished, I think, with the Lukai tag. He's one and only signing. I must admit, I wasn't worried about we wouldn't lose. I just thought, just when Bruce seems to have got the spine of the team absolutely nailed on right now. And then we kind of lose Hutch, which luckily didn't make much of a difference. Hope he's not out for a while. But
we'll talk about the injuries a little bit later on. But Pelipesi came on. I think it's fair that I think he did a decent enough job, didn't he? I don't think he was really tested. You just see a slight difference, don't you, in terms of our ability to have that bite in midfield without Hutch there, and it's something that I think against better teams we might suffer for. But we didn't even have time to wring our hands and rue the fact that Hutch wasn't on the pitch anymore, because literally, almost like it was a training ground move, we made the substitution. And then straight away, we had an attack down the right. And Fletch, in his 100th appearance for the Owls, continued his scoring streak. Fudge, it was a beautifully worked goal, wasn't it?
It was an astounding goal. Genuinely enjoyed it. Like you say, it seemed like one from the training ground. Was anybody else astounded, though, that Fletch has been with us for 100 games? I mean, he's only been with us 5 minutes, pretty sure. But anyway, I thought it was great, and I love that he's found his scoring boots again, and we're starting to get the player that we thought we'd signed.
That's the thing, isn't it? When you look at his stats, he's scored 24 goals in those 100 games. But actually, you think how many of those have been starts? How many of those has he been injured? Because he was out for quite a long time, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And obviously, he's been player of the month for the last 2 months as well. But 5 goals in the last 7, I think it is. Is it 7? 6?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, for me, he's one of them players that seems to have changed as he's got older. I don't know if you remember when Emil Heskey first came onto the scene in the mid-90s, and he was like 17, and he was a sprinter. There was he was going to be a sprinter.
He's changed that much. When he came onto the scene when he was 17, he was a ginger white man.
I know you're thinking of Wes Brown. No, he was a quick lad. And then when he went to Liverpool, he turned out to be this big, hulking telegraph pole that they just kicked the ball at. And it's the same with Stephen Fletcher. I remember when he was playing for Sunderland during his heyday, and he used to get down and run in behind defences, hit the byline, and pass it across the 6-yard box, and then there'd be probably Niall Quinn, I think probably back then, or Kevin Phillips, because he played till he was a million, there to knock it in at some point. But now we seem to have got this player who plays facing the goal now. He plays in the middle, facing the goal, and he's receiving these balls, and he can head this ball, and we seem to have an out-and-out striker with Stephen Fletcher, and like you said, Vic, to get 24 in 100, given today's current climate, isn't too bad, given how many injuries he's had.
Did anyone else, and I'm looking at you here, Dicky, the build-up to that, the Adam Reach getting the ball out on the flank, beating a man, holding it just enough, Iorfa coming up on the overlap at speed, and then the little dink and getting it over. Didn't that just remind you of Kingy and Worthington from back in the day? It's been a long time since we've seen that at Hillsborough, hasn't it?
Man, happy days. Kingy and Worthington overlapping and doing that little free kick routine down in the bottom corner, and oh god, yeah. I've got all you eyed now.
It was fantastic football. Absolutely fantastic football. So Wednesday 1-0 up, and I think it's fair to say that that Blackburn was still giving us problems. That they had quite a lot of pace in their side, and it didn't feel like the game was going to be settled until we got that 2-0 lead, and it did duly come, didn't it? After quite a frustrating period, we got a free kick, which I think probably provoked the largest cheers of the match. And then Vic, Barry Bannon got over the ball, and I don't know whether you saw it. It was almost exactly level from where where I was sitting at the edge of the 18-yard box. Ati Nuhiu basically was pointing exactly where he wanted the ball. He was telling Bannon, "Put it there. No one else is going to get it other than me. I will dominate." I think he probably went a little bit early, and a linesman could have picked him up. But how sublime and pinpoint, inch perfect was the ball from Bannon, and how good was Ati's finish in there?
Well, Barry Bannon's floaters were just on point, weren't they, on Saturday?
I love
were
a floater.
Just on point. Barry Bannon's floaters. I love a Barry Bannon floater. Every match he does it, and we all go, "Oh, not another Barry Bannon!" Way! There we go. But yeah, absolutely point. He headed it in, bullet header from Big Dave. Obviously, the cynics amongst us, Dan Fudge, Dicky, will point out that it is coming to the end of the season, and Ati has rent to pay. So is that why? I don't know. I actually think that Ati's a confidence player, and he needs these games sometimes, and he needs that goal. Obviously, we've got into the international break now, and he is the king of Kosovo as well, so that helped. But yeah, absolutely brilliant. Chuff for him. There's a bloke behind me, right? And he kills Ati every game. Absolutely slays him.
I'm with him.
He didn't even stand up when we scored. He didn't even clap. Everyone around him was jeering him, and he didn't even clap. What a knob you are, man behind me. What a knob. I've told him many times about different things. But I'm all one. I mean, I don't like to keep my language too PC, but his language is disgusting most of the time anyway. But to not even stand up and clap, man. Get a life. Get a life. Ati's young enough to be your son. Pathetic. But yeah.
I tell you what, actually, I found something out after my cynicism on Twitter that there's a year remaining on Ati's
well, there we go.
So there is a year, yeah. He signed a 2-year deal, didn't
he? Yeah, but for me, I think he doesn't score enough goals. He's not enough of a goal threat. But then all of a sudden, like the back end of last year, he was something else. And I'm like, wow, look at this player. Who's this guy? But it's just too and far between for me. I like the guy, and I think if the ball's hoofed up, and when we're playing crap Jos Lukai and crap Carlos Carvalho football, there is nobody else who is going to win the ball when it comes over. It's what he does with it after the ball comes over that winds me up. Do you know what I mean? I'm a grown up enough to go, he can do this, he can do that, but I still don't think he's one of the better strikers we've got in the club.
I might be a bit harsh here, but that's the first thing he's done all season.
Yeah, it is.
That's all he's done all season. I won't not clap him. He pulls on a blow white shirt. I'm good with it, but he's not done nowhere near enough for me. Not even scratching the surface on it. So I'm not going to get excited about one performance where he's scored a goal.
So is this? What we're saying now is that the evidence is mounting up. You know, we're not scientists. I mean, you know, Rich, you're not a gynecologist in any way, but you know, you'll have a good look. We're not scientists.
How do you know?
We're not scientists, but is there now an insurmountable amount of evidence to suggest that Ati Nuiu is actually a hibernating mammal? And that now we're getting closer to the clocks going forward. Spring is springing. There's blossom on the bushes. Again, that's got nothing to do with gynecology. There's blossom on the bushes. Do we think that Ati Nuiu only performs in spring? Is there some sort of climate change argument around Ati Nuiu?
No, I think he's only ever done that once, hasn't he? So
well, it seems towards the end of every season, he gets 10 times better.
I'm not convinced. I'm really not. I'm such a skeptic of his. I'm trying to be positive about him. He scored a good goal, and I'm happy. We won. But
absolutely.
Actually, nah.
So it seemed, 2-0. Although it's the Chris Turner nightmare 2-0 lead, Wednesday seemed in complete control, and then typical Wednesday, I just decided to concede a goal. We can't deal with pace, can we? Blackburn had plenty of pace, and they played it through us and scored. I think Kieran Westwood was absolutely apoplectic. He could not deal with the fact that clean sheet had gone, because there was no danger of it up until that point. But even that didn't really dampen the confidence, did it? And it wasn't long before Dominic, again, let's give credit where it's due. Barry Bannon, again, with an absolutely stellar ball in.
Barry Bannon's floaters.
Barry Bannon's floaters. If Fletch is scoring 24 in 100 and he's on, my good friend Chris Wilder has told me he's on 40 grand a week. How special is Dominic Iorfa's scoring record from fullback? And the rumour is he only cost a few $100,000. Fudge, we have unearthed an absolute gem here, haven't we?
Yes, we have. I just hope it's not one of those flash in the pan moments for him. I hope he continues to be. I mean, obviously the scoring rate will not keep up because he's a fullback. And I just hope he's not going to have one of them Ryan Sessegnon seasons where he bursts in and then goes missing the season after. But we haven't paid anything for him really. I think the actual price is about $500,000, but the numbers bandied around on Twitter was something like $200K. But that's with $200K you can buy 4 Chris Lines. So it kind of, it make 10 Chris Lines if it's £500,000, Christ, and that's a lot of player, that is. But yeah, I think we've done well getting this player, and he might be, Morgan Fox came under a lot of flack from our fans, and if I'm honest, he's been significantly better under Bruce. Look at Liam Parma as well, but we do need a bit of depth in that position. So to have a fullback that's given us a decent, and we own him, it's a proper signing. We haven't done one of them in a while, have we? We haven't got him on a free. We've actually gone to a club, paid money, and gone, thanks, pal, and signed him up, which doesn't happen anymore, really, does it?
Well, no, it doesn't. And you know what? If there's anyone that I trust to give a judgment on a defender that we sign for a bargain, who's a massive black lad who scores goals, then it's you, Fudge, because this Dominic Iorfa might just be the new Reda Johnson. I'm just wondering whether you're prepared for your heart to wander. Do you think that maybe?
Well, listen. During the night of the derby, I think I told you the story last week. So we were sat there. I was watching the derby, and a geezer came up. He was a Wednesday fan, recognised my shirt, and we got talking. And I said, I'll send a message to Reda, see if he wants to come to the boozer. And he did.
Oh, you are so cringe.
I know, aren't I? I thought,
God.
Just send a message, see if Reda's coming down. So he came down. Now, and I was sat there, and I felt like Johnny Big Bollocks at this point. You know what I mean? I'm like, look how mint I am. Just beckoning southern-based footballers to Bedford Arms in Bedford Place in Southampton. And then, so the game's finished. And I've gone bounding over because I've had a few Strongbow dart fruits, because, football. And I've gone, Reda, we're going around the corner to the brew house if you want to come. He went, yeah, all right. So he's now come round the corner and done a bit of the pub quiz that my mate Dan and Matt run on a Monday night. So when I sat there listening to a pub quiz, having a Strongbow dart fruits and a reasonably priced craft beer with Reda Johnson. So, in answer to your question, I'm not prepared. No.
Honestly, you're ruining something.
I couldn't. Honestly, can you imagine how bad we'd all feel if Fudge was like, me and Reda we're having a bit of a rough patch at the moment. He's consumed with jealousy. He found me with Google Images stash of Dominic, and
I'm confused now. I'm confused. Is it Reda or Reda?
Fudge knows.
You've both just called him Reda.
I go with Reda. He's French.
All them songs we sang about Reda.
From any Sheffield Wednesday fan about bloody about player names pronunciation, because half of the bloody fraternity at Hillsborough used to call Miguel Liera because the second letter in his name was a lowercase I. You know what I mean? Come on, lad.
Oh, you're not crushing me dreams about Liera as well, are you?
No, me and Eddie have been on skiing holidays. We know.
Honestly, the bloke behind me still calls Atty Nahui. At this point, Nahui, which you only ever
standard one, isn't it? Nahui.
No, and you know what? You only ever hear that now on Sky, isn't it, or on anytime we're on telly.
Sky did it at the weekend. Atty Nahui.
Nahui. Yeah. Oh well, we can't legislate for that, and we can't legislate for the love that Fudge has for Reda Johnson. That's brilliant, Fudge. I'd love it if you did a small vlogging series of just social events that you go to with ex-players.
Like the back pages of like Cosmo or something, like Hello Magazine, where they just have still photos of half famous people at events. Just me and Reda at this is the pie and peas night at the local rugby club. You know what I mean?
You get one famous person, the marketing manager of a fireplace company. And his wife in there as well. That's always good. Always good. So, 3-1. It was a festival of football at that point. And then the fourth goal duly came. Vic, can I come to you on this one? Was that just completely spawny rubbish goal? Should Matthias even have claimed it? Or should he just shook his head and gone back to the centre circle?
I think the celebration was a bit much, wasn't it? That's not going to sell coffees and Portuguese patisseries. It was just.
Hey, they're nice. They're nice, some cakes.
They're nice. They are a bit rich for me, but I like a coffee. But yeah, it was a bit of a dodgy go. Well, there was no need for the PES 4 celebration, was there? It just, but credit where credit's due. Someone had to put it in the back of the net. Obviously, we all know penalties and tappings don't count. So it's nice for.
It was a keeper technically to put it in the back of the net, wasn't it?
Yeah, he did just kind of. It was as if it came towards him and he went, nah. He just flung it.
It was an impressive deflection. It was like 120-degree deflection. It went in a completely different angle, didn't it, from where the shot was going. So, we'll take it. We'll ignore the fourth goal because it didn't really matter, and we'll ignore Blackburn's goal to make it 4-2 because that didn't matter any way, shape or form. 4-2, it's a victory. Goal difference helped a little bit. 4 goals at home for the first time in God knows how long. And at the sum total of it, the end product of all of that blood, sweat and tears is that absolutely ludicrously, the Hillsborough crowd piped up once again, for the first time in a couple of years, with we're on our way to the Premier League, we're on our way. we are 2 points off the playoffs in the middle of a pack of approximately 16 teams that still have a chance of making the playoffs. I don't even want to ask it yet. It is the 20th of March and there are 8 games to go. Fudge, Steve Bruce describes it as a squeak. We've got a squeak of making it into the playoffs. Is any part of you starting to believe that there is any chance that it could happen?
When it was 6 points, I was like, nah, this can't happen. It's far too tight. But then now it's down to the wire, and it's so close. And Bristol City seem to be in free fall. Middlesbrough losing, they lost to Preston, didn't they? But I think like you said at the top of that, the amount of teams who can break in. I think before we kicked off on Saturday, it was anybody from 16th could finish in the playoffs comfortably. You know what I mean? But what I can't seem to shake though, Ed, is do you remember when Blackpool went up? They were 8th, 9th, 10th, 8th, 8th, 7th. Yeah. And then for the last 6 games, they just went romping into the playoffs and just went straight up. Like, there's a lot to be said about being the informed team going into the playoffs. I just hope we have a little of a 2 or 3 game blip, still finish in the playoffs, then I'll believe a little bit more. But as it stands right now, I'm doing well at not getting carried away, I think.
Yeah. I think we're all a couple of weeks away from getting carried away, aren't we? I think if we're even if it's still 2 points, even if the gap doesn't change, if we're 6 points better off in 2 games' time, I think we'll all be much more giddy than we are now because A, there's still loads of teams in it, and B, we haven't really beaten anyone yet, have we? And we'll talk about the fixtures coming up, and maybe go into a little bit more depth. But the atmosphere at Hillsborough, for the first time in a long, long time, people were openly showing that they believe and that they're behind the team and that they're buying into the chance that there's a chance, which at this point in the season we can live with. There's still quite a long way to go. In conclusion, Blackburn done. A period of the season where we've probably had an easier stack of games than most of the stretch of the season has seen us do our job. 55 points. There's no chance of relegation. Let's forget about that for the moment. We are right up there, battling with it. And what we do against the teams that we've got to face, if we do go on and get the points that are required, there's no one can say that we haven't earned it. We're not sneaking in through the back door. We'll be smashing the front doors in and announcing ourselves. And let's just see how it goes. We've got a week off now, haven't we, with the international break. A couple of other items from the Blackburn game, and both of them are really heartwarming stories. They both are about charity presentations. The first one I want to talk about is from William Hunter. We talked about this on the pod a few weeks ago when we were trying to publicise what was going on. This is a young player, and he decided to get together just a standard match with teammates at AFC Dromfield where he plays, some of his school friends, etc. But then had the bright idea of turning it into a kind of celebrity ex-pros special charity game. So TC, Terry Curran, managed one of the sides. John Breckin from Rotherham back in the day, he managed the other side, and they raised over £3,000 for Macmillan Cancer Support. So they were on the pitch, having their photos taken, handing it over. Well done, William, at your top Wednesday charity-ing. But then the next one really touched my heart. So a young lad called Shay O'Grady, 8 years old, he decided that he was going to walk from Bluebell Wood to Hillsborough, so 16 miles walking to raise money for Bluebell Wood Hospice. Rich, we're well familiar with Bluebell Wood, aren't we, from the Wednesday at charity stuff that we've done, the bike ride, etc., etc.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, a long association with the club and with the locality and, with fans, etc. But for a young lad of 8 years old, I think they announced that he'd raised £4,100 by doing all the stuff that he'd done. Defon Chansiri came out onto the pitch. We thought, oh, this is going to be nice, for the young lad, etc. And then they announced that the club had decided that £4,100 just needed topping up a little bit. And so they topped up to £10,000, which is a really lovely gesture. And, the kid was guest of honour.
Well, it was Chansiri himself, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Defon stumped up £5,900.
And,
and
Shay was
deductible, isn't it?
as if he pays tax.
It's a tax thing, yeah.
You're horrible.
Absolutely.
That's what it is, isn't it?
£5,900 is equivalent to 10 minutes of Jordan Rhodes' wage. So I think, fair enough.
So fantastic from Shay. That isn't that brilliant? I know he was doing it. His cousin gets a treatment from Bluebell Wood. She's got a chromosome disorder, etc. So I can understand why he's doing it. He's doing it for his sister. But how brilliant is that? That a fan of the club did something like that, and for the club to embrace it, and for Mr. Chansiri to embrace it. He'll remember that. Guest of honour. He got his shirt signed, and well done, Shay. That is Wednesday family right there. Absolutely phenomenon. Okay, so the Wednesday week, in association with the Riverside Cafe on Catch Bar Lane, they should be nominated for pre-match pub of the year. However, the Mitre goal of the year, you can't be a pub, you have to be a football player. And Adam Reach's goal has been nominated for the Mitre goal of the year. Vic, tell us about this, please.
Yes, so it is the goal from Aston Villa away, wasn't it? So that game as well, like we talk about it all the time, but there were 2 goals from that one game nominated for this. So we've got to push on. If you watch the video that at EFL tweeted with all the goals in it, it should be on Pornhub, to be honest with you. It's absolutely beautiful. There are some crackers on there, but obviously Reach's is the best. We all know that, but so people are just going to get out there and vote. It was the one. It was in like the first minute, wasn't it? That he just smashed
absolutely
it into the back of the net. Just like it was like a plane, wasn't it? It just shot. But obviously there was the McGinn goal as well that was there as well. But Reach was obviously nominated last season, and I've moaned a few times about how, under the first sort of the Carlos era, we had, the Wembley season where every other goal was the goal of the season contender. And we have lacked that a bit recently. But obviously, Reach has pulled out quite a few. Obviously, Barry Bannon's pulled out quite a few. There was the Fletcher bicycle kick that was pretty damn beautiful. But yeah, if you get online and vote, I think... Oh, no, you can't vote yet. I think they're leaving it till the top 5 are chosen by a jury, and then it'll go to a public vote. Keep an eye out and see what happens.
But definitely, and we need to win this because it's our reward, isn't it? Like you say, Barry Bannon, Ross Wallace. We've got a bit of a history of absolute...
Oh, Ross Wallace, yes.
Absolute
Tommy
twat
Spur
bastards.
against Leeds. I'll never forget that one.
Oh, what a great one.
I
do miss Tommy Spur. So speaking of lower league players, the Wednesday team, we are on an international break, of course, but that hasn't stopped Steve Bruce from cracking a whip and making sure that players are keeping as fit as possible. So we had a behind closed doors game against Scunthorpe. Highlights of the game, or the goals at least, available on Sheffield Wednesday YouTube. So I took a look at that earlier. It was a 5-1 thrashing that we administered. It was pretty much an under-23s game in terms of the players that were involved. Fudge, the most important thing, presumably, is how Gary Hooper got on, because it was billed as his big return, and this was going to show whether he is or is not ready to step back in at first team level. Your opinion, please.
Well, Super Hooper's turned up in his, Brown Mini Cooper with a Pooper Scooper. It was Super Duper. He's ended up scoring. He's ended up scoring 2 goals. Scored a brace against his old club. Got on the score sheet with Hunty and Boydie as well, and yeah, I'm chuffed for him. I think Danny Poodle as well got one well on the day. I forgot he existed, but yeah, I'm chuffed, and he managed to get through the game unscathed because There's, I think we've had setbacks with Winnell and Lee before, haven't we? Where they've tried to play, developmental games, and it's not good. It's not played out for them as much as they wanted. So to get through it unscathed, was the main event. But then to score 2 goals as well means he's not lost the eye for a goal, which I'm happy with. But it was a low-level game, but it was still competitive football, and I'm really excited because I think during this team and with this bounce, Hooper can be unstoppable on his day, and I just hope he gets the opportunity to play some first-team football before his contract's out at the end of the season, and we can get a solid look on whether he's worth extending his contract. Personally, I would throw a pay-as-you-play deal at him, but I think that there will be some Championship and top-end league clubs who will take him on full-time for a season. So, it depends where he wants to be in his career. But yeah, Gary bloody Hooper's scoring bloody goals again. I'm excited. The pants have just got tighter.
Hooper and Fletcher ready for the playoffs.
Yeah,
just makes me a little bit giddy.
Yes.
In fact, we were joking last week about Gary Hooper coming back and doing a Steve McLean in the playoff final.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? We're stepping even closer towards it. It's happening, kids. Brace yourself. Get your tinfoil hats on. In fact, get your tinfoil cups made out of cardboard. Get them ready.
Yes, 1980s FA Cup final day style. Loving that. Hey, two things stood out for me in that game. And obviously, I've only seen the goals, but number one, George Boyd 100% has found his level. He can dominate against a Scunthorpe team that are not at all interested in playing the game. So that's good news for him. Alex Hunt, you know what? 5 goals, and he absolutely stole the show with his. That was an absolute perler. Lovely stuff, Alex Hunt. 2 thumbs up. Let's hope that you could somehow make the jump to first team and do the same thing at the top level. That
was very diplomatic of you. The problem is with Alex Hunt is that he is the epitome of, when your nan used to say to you, "You'll fill out." He's like the poster boy for it, isn't he? What was that game where we were on telly earlier on in the season? I think it was Sunderland, wasn't it, in the cup? And God, it looked like somebody had just, some kid had turned up and they'd brought the boots with them and get him again. You know what I mean? Bless him. I think he, and it was a horrible shit kicker game where he was literally just a bystander watching the ball go over his head all day. You know what I mean? So I hope he fills out, and I hope he's eating his greens to put hairs on his chest.
Oh, it happened to Liam Parma, didn't he? Remember, he looked like bloody Stickman from the children's books when he first started, and now look at him. He's a beast. International beast. He's getting old now. That's why he's got kids. He's got wrinkles. Dicky, one other piece of news on the season tickets. So I queued up in the Al's Megastore on Saturday, late morning, because I wanted to make sure that I beat the queues to renew my season ticket. I went for the 3-year option because I'm not that mental that I'm going to put down $5,000 for this useless team that always disappoints us. They've extended the deadline to the 1st of April. I don't think that's an April Fool's, is it? Number one, have you got your season ticket renewed? Number two, do you think there's any reason behind that? Do we need to read anything into the fact that they've extended the deadline?
Yes, I have renewed mine. I did it about 3 weeks ago. I thought I'd avoid the mad rush that ensued this weekend. There was a lot of my friends were like, either I went down on Saturday or got to a point where Sunday night they were panicking. For some reason, the button to order online had disappeared. So people couldn't order season tickets online. So what the hell was going on? I have no idea. But I thought I'd avoid all that. I did it about 3 weeks ago, which I thought made sense. But I was looking through my time ops earlier this week, and I found a screenshot of exactly a year ago, Club Extend season ticket deadline.
There we go.
So the cynic in me says it's an annual thing now. They'll always do this, stick an extra due to demand. We're going to stick another couple of weeks on the deadline. I think it's one of those things now, isn't it? They're always going to extend it, aren't they?
You'd hope so. I just think it's mad that, okay, have an early bird period and then stop selling them and then go to the kind of, when we're getting ready, the pre-season. Start selling them again in July for the people that weren't convinced. And if we've made some good moves in the transfer market or we've done some great marketing, then they'll sign up and they'll pay the price for it. But having like 17 different schemes where it's like, okay, now we've got rid of early bird, now it's going to be period 2, then period 3, then period 4. It makes no sense. So I'm glad they're doing it. I think it's a smart move, because if Wednesday keep doing this, more people are going to buy into this whole, this is our Wednesday, and the snazzy videos and all that. So we'll see what happens. But it'd be great if we carry on playing strongly to get another record haul of season tickets, because it has trended upwards in recent years. So. We shall see. Another piece of news, the hashtag EFL Day of Action. I think the idea behind that was every club has a cause. We sent Fessy out to a local primary school to start preaching about single-use plastics and plastic bottles and things like that. I've got no idea how or why Fessy is the man chosen for this, but if you're going to have someone come in and talk when you're 7-8 years old, and someone's going to come and talk rubbish at you about plastics, then it might as well be Fernando Forestieri. So I don't know. I've got no idea what that was about, but a bit of virtue signalling doesn't go amiss, does it? It's great.
Well, yeah, Fessy can look him dead in the eye without having to crouch or kneel. So, he's a perfect man for the job. Imagine if Atty New turned up. They'd think Chewbacca's walked in. In fact, he'd have probably got to subscribe to it more. Since Star Wars has rebooted.
Yeah, a lot of kind of community-based news, isn't there? That's happening this week, and so I don't know why it's come up, but it is what it is, isn't it? We're all being very right on. So we are on an international week. International duty. So we've seen a lot of players, as usual, picked for their national squads, and a lot of players decided that they'd rather just have a week or so off. But one notable player who has taken up the offer of a place in the international squad. Apparently, there is a country called Scotland, and they have an international football team. And Liam Parma is gracing them with his presence. I don't think anyone can argue that if anyone has made a step change in their performances this season, it is Liam Parma. Arguably, he is our most reliable, consistent, and excellent performer at the moment. So it really is. He's getting his due by getting picked. I can't imagine that Scotland have access to a better fullback than Liam Parma. Vic, how important do you think he has been this season? And do you see the improvement in Liam Parma since the start of this year?
I wouldn't say this season. I think he has just come to life under Steve Bruce, hasn't he? It's like a whole new player. Obviously, he's had to step up, and that is one thing with Liam Parma. He gets so much stick all the time because he's been here the longest. He's an easy target. He doesn't argue back. He just he's a nice family man, just goes about his life with his kids and his wife.
I know. We're not picking on him because he's an easy target and he's a nice family man. We picked on him because he's been shit.
And he's he's ironing.
What I'm saying is he's not really played that much. He's had some awful games.
He's played every bloody game, man. He's just been average at best. He's been an absolute problem.
You can't say.
When was the last time you saw Danny Bloody Poodle play at bloody fullback? He's been there nearly week in, week out and chucked out average performances. And somehow Steve Bruce has got a tune out of him, which I am proud to death as a lad.
I'd just like to revert back then to my point of he gets a lot of stick because we can,
for being shit.
We can throw stick at him because he's that kind of bloke. We all feel like it. You are a troll, Sam Fudge. You need to go back onto your bridge.
You can't just say that it's because he's an easy target. No, he's an easy target because he's shit. Because he has performed badly. Do you know what I mean? It's not like we've just gone, who shall we pick on this week, lads? Well, Liam Palmer's always up for a Bantosaurus Rex, isn't he? Let's go and jump on his back. No, we picked on him because We're a mob mentality. We're football fans, and he's been bloody rubbish.
He is. No, you know what? I'll take issue with the idea that Liam Palmer's been shit, but I will concede that he hasn't played. This is the best he's played his entire career Wednesday. I feel like Liam Palmer has always been the kind of second in line for the stick. So when the Wednesday fans want to get on Newell's back, they'll get on Newell's back. If Newell's not playing, then they'll revert to Liam Palmer. If they want to get on Fox's back, they'll get on Fox's back. If Fox isn't picked, it's back to Liam Palmer. I think Liam Palmer has shoved it directly up the arse of every one of them in the last 6 weeks.
Absolutely.
Because he has shown not only can he just do a job and fill in, he's played on the wrong side of the pitch and he's been man of the match the last 3 matches. He is phenomenal in terms of his form at the moment, and I really hope that it gives him the confidence to continue because, I can't think of a better, a more competent and all-around complete fullback than Liam Palmer in the form that he's in.
Sorry, Eddie, I don't want to break you down there. And sorry, before you pick this up, Vic. As I started shouting then, I made the cat jump and he's just pissed on my bed. So that's nice.
2 weeks on the trot.
Isn't it?
Is your cat called Ramon?
Dirty bugger. Sorry, Vic, carry on.
I don't even think Vic was talking.
I'm done now.
Just Vic's scandalised. She can't even look at you anymore.
I feel like it's just because I'm a woman. That's what it is. It's because I'm a woman. And hold on, what else can I use?
Women know about football. All that, yeah.
And probably larger than your average. Yeah, there's all these things, Fudge, that you just pull me down on all the time. All the time. I've got curly hair. Go for it with curly hair. Why don't you just? It'd be like it's like.
Rick, will you stop flirting with Fudge?
It's like that playground where she's punching me to go, shut up, I hate you. But like, yes, you're right, Eddie. Liam Palmer has shut me up.
We have to move on. I think we can all agree Fudge is a massive racist, and he'll never see the best of anyone. Fudge, you don't have a right of reply. You are a racist. It is final. We're moving on to injuries.
I am that racist. I could play for Sheffield United ladies team.
Let's stop that one.
Topical.
Right, there we go. Bit of politics. Right, we're gonna move on and talk about injuries. Now, our injury list is so long. We could carry on and talk about every one of them in detail. Forget that. We're not doing it. There's too many of them. I'm just going to quickly go around the houses. I'm going to ask if you can.
Hold on a minute. I spent hours pulling this running order together. I put details in.
I know.
I know.
There was an article about injuries on the Star this week.
Yeah, may well have got some of the information.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyone interested can read the article. I'm going to go around the house. I'm going to ask you a simple question. Who is the one player that you would like to see back, irrespective of what their injury prognosis is? If you could have one player who is currently injured back and guaranteed to be fit for the run-in, who would it be? Victoria.
Well, obviously, Onama's injured again. So let's not even think about that. I'd love to see what's his face back, the beautiful, beautiful one, the fullback.
Lazar.
Lazar.
Ashraf Lazar.
Hoops for me is the big one. I think Hoops and Fletcher. Obviously, Fletcher injured his groin at the weekend, but Hoops is the big one.
Fudge.
Kieran Lee, 100%, no holds barred, best player we own, absolute universal quality. It's got to be Kieran Lee for me. And we can finally get rid of this Sam Hutchinson going down for 4 minutes and being subbed after 9. And let's get Kieran Lee in there and his last-minute goals against the Millers.
Rich, and it's clutching at straws, isn't it? You know, the idea of Kieran Lee being back. Rich, have you got anything more realistic than that?
I'm with Fudge, Kieran Lee, all day long, but I'm afraid I don't think we're ever going to see him in a Sheffield Wednesday shirt ever again.
No, I think we all fear that. And it's
Hooper's a realistic one. Which is really, really sad because Kieran Lee right now would make such a difference to us and would give us that extra proper pushes on. I think we'd have a rattle at those playoffs.
absolute box-to-box god, that man. Although, you're all wrong because the answer is Alman Abdi. So, again, moving on. Ooh! What was it that... behind the curtain here, we've got a little group chat that goes on. Steve Beastie, who can't be with us tonight because he decided it was a terrible mistake ever coming back, he was saying that he can't get the song out of his head. There was a song in the late 80s by the KLF, who went by a different name at the time, called the Time Lords. And the song went, Doctor Who, hey, Doctor Who, Doctor Who. And he now can't get Alman Abdi Who, Abdi Who, Alman Abdi Who. Abdi Who is on the treatment table. Out of his head, which is a strange song to not be able to get out of your head. Yeah, there you go. Let's never peel back the curtain
Hashtag bring
again.
back Lord Hillsborough.
Oh dear, oh dear. Next to the running order, Vic, as you said, this was your running order. You've done an awful lot of work here. We've bizarrely just got a random fact in there next, which is players who have scored the most goals against us. What? Why is that? What is happening here?
Right, because whenever I do a running order, especially on International Week, I like to go through, I go on the last bit that we talked about from the last podcast, I go through the Wednesday website and the Star website. And as we know, Dom Howson put some absolute shite out there. And this was one of his stories. Doom. So
you're looking at another Star article.
Yeah, I know. I just...
That too.
Someone has to feed.
Next should be appearing on the Singing the Blues podcast.
Bloody word. No, but there was a Star article, and I thought it was quite interesting. It was players who have scored the most goals against us ever. Obviously, the top ones were like Shearer, Phillips, Dion Dublin, etc. But there were two in there that just... Well, I mean, Jordan Rhodes is one of the top scorers ever against us with 7 goals and 2 assists, which I think is probably more than he's got at his entire time at Hillsborough.
4 of them were in one game, weren't they?
Yeah, they were, yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really count. Can he take a penalty on a cold night against Brighton? No, he can't. So then there's Clinton Morrison is up there with more goals against us than Jordan Rhodes.
But we love Clinton.
And 2... I know, I love Clinton.
How could he do it to us?
I know. And he was one of those players, I think we'll all remember at the time when he did score these goals against us, that we all said he's somebody who should be playing for us one day. You know, you think back to like Dion Burton. I remember when we played against Dion Burton for Brentford in the playoffs, the year that we actually did all right in the playoffs. And I remember saying, God, I'd love him to play for us. And obviously he did. And he could stop a ball falling from a jumbo jet with just one touch. But yeah, Clinton Morrison, 9 goals and 2 assists. I thought that was pretty impressive. But like I said, Shearer is the top one. I'll never forgive him for that penalty and the 8-0 win. Never forgive him. Can't even watch Match of the Day without wanting to smash a lot up.
Didn't he score 5 against us? How many has Shearer got against us? Because 5 again, we're all
it's probably like 6 in total.
I've not done that much research. I think it's about 14. I think it's about 14. It's about 14.
It's about 14. There you are.
You lot just turn up. You know, don't do any of this. I've done you a Google Doc. I've put your notes in. You're an arsehole, honestly.
I tell you what, if listeners could see the state of this Google Doc, it's a beautiful thing, Vic. But the next thing I've got to talk about, you've put about 3/4 of a page listing everybody's fixtures for the rest of time.
From the start.
Right. I have copied and pasted this from the start. I'm not going to lie, but I have on our fixtures. I have bolded the ones that are important, and on the remaining fixtures, I have underlined the ones that are important for you. So I thought I was doing you a favour there. I'm so sorry.
No,
I won't do it again.
There's no key to this. There's no key underneath that says underline is this and bold is this.
I've worked it out, Rich. Right? Okay. So I've had a look at it, and basically what it's saying, and now the key is appearing as we speak on the Google Doc. So I've parsed this, right, and I've boiled it down to a really, really simple argument here, which is of all of the teams that are up there fighting for promotion, whether it be automatic, whether it be to get into the playoffs, there is nobody who has a tougher run-in than us. So even though Vic is delinquent of her duties and didn't make Forest bold, of our 8 games that remain, 7 of them are against teams that are in the promotion hunt, so are within 2 points of us. We're going to have to go some and defeat literally the best teams in the league if we're going to get the points that we need to get promoted. There are some teams...
I think you'll find that Forest is now bold.
Excellent. Bold now. You've just bolded it.
I put a key in for you as well as underline equals playing a big one, bold equals us playing a big one, and fuck off.
And
also what's the third line? That's yeah.
So, what it comes down to is that I suppose Wednesday and Bristol City seem to have the toughest run-in of all of them. There are a lot of teams that are fairly middling, and then you have got Sheffield United, who only have to play 2 of those teams, and Middlesbrough only have to play 3 of those teams. Given that they are probably 2 quite key teams as far as we're concerned that we want to see not pick up the points, does it change the belief that we've got at the moment?
It looks a bit bleak, doesn't it? I don't want to be frightened because the thing is, none of us at any point 4 months ago thought that we would even be having this conversation, did we? It was almost getting to like a relegation scrap, and well, it was, wasn't it? It was that bad. And now we are looking at my beautifully coordinated notes here, and we're going, oh, don't know if we'll get into playoffs now. The fuck? That's mental. That's brilliant. Fine. I'll take that. I'll take that every day of the week. We could lose all of them for ICAT. Like, well, no. But do you know what I mean? Like, it's still... We've done so well. So well.
It's a win-win for us, isn't it? Because the new hope in Bruce is there, and it's still going to be there next season. So even if we finish where we are now, everybody's going to be happy because we're doing all right, we're playing well, we're scoring goals, and whether we get in the playoffs or not, it's just there's no pressure on us to do it. Absolutely no pressure. Nobody's expecting it. It's just going to be a bonus if it happens.
What is going to be the feeling if we, I think, seriously, if we're going to get into the playoffs, with this number of teams involved, the teams that get into the playoffs are going to have unbelievable runs. It's going to be winning 6 or 7 out of those 8 games. So let's say, for the sake of argument, we don't do that. Can you just see a world where we kind of fail to beat the likes of Stoke and Villa and Forest, and then we go away to Ellen Road and win, we go away to Carrow Road and win, and hand promotion to our city neighbours? Wouldn't that be the most Wednesday thing to do from this point on?
Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. I think the perceived easier fixtures of the remaining ones will be the ones that we struggle with. We'll get a crap 1-0 defeat or a 1-0 draw or something like that. But then the bigger teams, the ones that are really pushing for promotion, they'll be the ones that will spank 3-0, and we'll just absolutely cock tease ourselves whether we're going to go into the playoffs or not, and then just finish 7th. That's what's going to happen, lads. You know, we all know it's going to happen. Just the quicker I accept it now, the better. Name your sex tape.
Do you know the one positive? The one positive I found, Blackburn, we played well, but I think we've got an extra gear in there somewhere. Yeah, and I think they've said this in the press this week. There's an extra gear in there, and if we can find that extra gear and up it, who knows what the bloody hell is going to happen?
Can you imagine?
We're winning games. We're winning games and not playing spectacularly well, just all right and winning.
And that team spirit seems to really be flowing back. You know, you look at the celebrations. Did you watch on YouTube the GoPro? Have they put a GoPro on Steve Ellis for the last game? Because every time we scored, you see like a cameraman running. Yeah. I'm sure that's Steve Ellis that they've put a GoPro on. which is the best thing that the club have ever done. They should have a 24/7 live stream of Steve Ellis just going about his business, as far as I'm concerned, on a GoPro. That'd do me. I can't remember where I was going with this. How do you think that we will be feeling if we have that extra gear? And I think we do. If that team spirit is absolutely where it needs to be, and that we can now attack with confidence. If we take 3 points from Stoke, 3 points from Villa, 3 points from Forest, we then go into those Leeds and Norwich away games. At that point then, is there even going to be any tongue-in-cheek, it's not the despair that kills you, it's the hope? Are we going to be believing that we're a juggernaut and that this is like literally meant to be? I don't know whether we've got that belief yet, but can anyone see how that's going to snowball?
No.
Just me. Just me. Right.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, in 4 weeks' time, I'll host again and we'll be talking about exactly that. I'll nail my dick to the mast. It's going to happen. Right, so that's for the future. We've got a week off for everyone to get healthy, get relaxed, get limber, and get ready for a Stoke away, which comes a week on Saturday. We're nearly done here. Any other business? Victoria, we've talked quite a bit about community stuff, about charity stuff. There's a charity game this weekend, isn't there?
There is, yeah. So there's loads of people playing on the pitch with a few local celebs. Friend of the show, John McClure, I imagine will be playing. I would guess Paul Pashley will be playing. And they're playing on the pitch at Hillsborough with loads of guys who are raising money for St Luke's Hospice. And some of those guys are our good friends from the Cop End. So Max, Max, who is my little darling, who sings all the time. He's playing. He's raised. I think they have to raise £400 each. And then Cleggy from the Cop End is playing. I think there's a couple of others as well. I think Dean from the Cop End's playing. So you can actually go along and watch them. So if you want to do something this Saturday afternoon, I'm gutted because I'm away. I'm not gutted because I'm going to be in a hot tub with a bottle of Prosecco. But just go and watch them. Like it's just going to be a fun day out for everybody, and it's raising money for St Luke's. I think there's going to be a raffle as well or something. Obviously, St Luke's is a very, very vital charity to our city, and they receive hardly any funding now, which is disgusting. So please go and support the guys and cheer them on. The Cop End start most of the chants that we now use in everyday life. So they are the ones to cheer on. So please go and enjoy them.
Lovely stuff. So that is the end of the Wednesday week for this week. Victoria, if anyone wants to contact you and talk about whether you could just knock up a document with way too much information in, how would they do it?
Do you know what? I won't do this in future. I will just send you a standard one, a standard document. This is normally when I host, I have a full script. That is it. I'm not doing it anymore.
You could just send us the links for the Star articles you took most of this from.
You go.
You could just send us those.
I tell you what, Vic. I get accused of being quite misogynistic when I say this, so my apologies in advance.
Well, here we go.
Have you ever heard the term "cutting your nose off to spite your face"? I use it down here to some of the girls at work, and I refer to it as womaning it. Don't woman me. You know what I mean? Now you've literally just done that. Like, this is something we need, it's something we want, but sod you, I'm not doing it anymore. And for me, it's exactly the same scenario as this Sheffield United striker that's got into trouble. Well, sod you, I'm not playing anymore. Bollocks to you. Not interested. Don't worry about it then.
Right. When you did a running order last week, you posted it into our Facebook chat group that literally every 2 minutes moves another 10 pages up because people are constantly talking. No, it's not. No, it's not. Well, sometimes.
He's right, it is.
Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. Right. But I tried my best this week, and next time I host, you'll all just get an invitation, and that is it. I won't tell you anything about what I'm saying. You won't have any preparation.
Totally grown-up response. Totally rational response. In no way. Well done.
That's fine. That's fine. Anyway, if you want to get hold of me, Please do. It's been a long time.
No, don't go there. Don't go there. No.
You can find me at Victoria1867 on Twitter and Tinder.
You got the same on Tinder as well. That's good. Excellent work. Good.
You do. You can get a username. I did used to have it on Instagram, but it got hacked by some sort of extremist group. Now I can't get back into it. So that's not my username on Instagram anymore. But yeah, Twitter, please.
So, Dicky, if anyone wants to get in touch with you, give you directions back from Worcester, or job offers, go for it.
Yeah, job offers would be good. Yeah, you can find me at Dicky Owl on Twitter. I'll be spending the international break in Skeggy because I'm going to go and watch Hallam play. We're having a Jolly Boys, taking 2 coach loads full of Hallam fans to go and watch Hallam in their playoff push. Well, actually, promotion push, not just a playoff, promotion
push. Yeah. I was going to ask you about that. Do you get time in Skeggy?
Yeah, we leave at 10 in the morning. Match kicks off at 3.
That's awesome. I'm so jealous. I wish I could go.
Oh, why can't you? Right, because you played around with a bottle in a hot tub, aren't you? Is that what you do?
In a hot tub, yeah. I'll send you selfies, babes.
Okay, cool. That works.
Daniel Fudge, if any internet feminists have been sufficiently disturbed by everything you've ever said to come and attack you, what's the easiest way for them to get you blocked off Twitter?
If you want to block me on Twitter, it's at Dan Fudge. Next week, I will be in Cape Town. So, slide me off as much as you like. I don't care. I'm in a different continent. You know what I mean? And actually, Rich, I used to play for Skegness Town a good, 15 years ago. Yeah, that's really weird. I think
I mentioned your name while we're there. Yeah.
No, I don't.
I'm allowed to. Oh, okay, fair enough.
Were you redcoat by night, semi-pro footballer by day?
We were not semi-pro back then. We were pushing for it. I think they had a buyer back in about 2010. I don't know. It's not interesting.
But that is a proper chat line, isn't it? Hi, girls. I'm also a redcoat, but I also play football for Skegness Town.
Yeah, and then prove it then. And then I show them my bank account, and then they go, "Yeah, you're all right, love. Thanks." Do you know what I mean?
It's times like this where I look at my life and I realise, as self-satisfied and arrogant as I am, all I ever wanted was to A, be a redcoat, B, play semi-professional football, and C, have Reda Johnson on speed dial. I have none of those things. All I have is a Twitter account. It is at Sausage Arms. Come and cheer me up. I'm sad and lonely and middle-aged. That was the Wednesday week. It's taken quite a downturn. Don't blame the Riverside Cafe on Catch Bar Lane. They're fantastic, despite my own crippling depression that has just set on 58 minutes into the podcast. I hope you have a wonderful week. There's no football this Saturday, certainly not of the Wednesday variety. So go out and explore whatever else you can find in the world that gives you joy. I hope everyone stays safe, and we will see you next week. We don't know what we'll discuss, but there is a Stoke game on the horizon. Until then, I've been Eddie. We have been a Wednesday week. Thank you for listening, and enjoy your time.
Keep up to date with the Wednesday Week on Twitter at TWWcast or on our website, thewednesdayweek.co.uk.